Thanks.
The Hollywood actress Angelina Jolie has revealed that she's had both breasts removed to minimise the risk of cancer. Writing in the New York Times, she said she decided to have the double mastectomy because she carried a faulty gene that gave her an almost 90% chance of contracting breast cancer. Andrew Plant has this report.
Angelina Jolie revealed she'd had a double mastectomy in an article written for the New York Times. The 37-year-old actress said she'd decided to act after doctors told her she had an 87% chance of contracting breast cancer, the disease that killed her mother at just 56. She said concern from her children over whether the same thing could happen to her had prompted the preventative surgery. Describing the procedure in detail, she paid tribute to her loving and supportive partner Brad Pitt, who was with her for every moment of surgery, the removal of breast tissue, and then reconstructive surgery over 3 months of treatment. In 1992, Wendy Watson became the first person in the UK to have a preemptive mastectomy and now works to raise awareness.
It was 21 years ago when I invented this procedure for myself, actually, because at the time nothing was known about any faulty genes, but I had such a significant family history, 9 relatives with the disease, and so I just thought I'm going to have to find some way to help myself save my life. And that's when I came up with the idea of having the surgery before I developed the breast cancer.
Experts say breast cancer in family members doesn't necessarily mean a heightened risk.
Typically, the gene is very rare, even in women who have breast cancer in the family. If the breast cancer has occurred at a young age in a family member or in multiple members, the risk is higher. So they really should seek out advice from a genetic counselor if they're worried.
A faulty gene meant Angelina Jolie's chances were very high, but following the operations there's now only a 5% chance of her contracting the disease. She is also at risk of ovarian cancer. Angelina Jolie said she hoped other women could benefit from her experience and go for gene testing so they could reduce their chances of breast cancer. Andrew Plant, BBC News.
Of individuals, according to Philip Hammond there, the Defence Secretary, with that statement in the House.
Let's get more on the news that the actress Angelina Jolie has undergone a double mastectomy to protect herself against breast cancer. She says she chose the operation because she carries a faulty gene which greatly increases her risk. We can take a closer look at that gene. It's the BRCA1 gene and it helps to repair damage to DNA. The World Health Organization says people with a faulty or mutated BRCA1 gene have an estimated 70% risk of getting breast or ovarian cancer in their lifetime. Here in the UK, 1 in every 1,000 women has the faulty gene. Inherited mutations of the BRCA1 gene account, though, for just a small proportion of all breast cancers. It can be checked by a blood test. Well, let's talk through those statistics, get more of an explanation of them with Professor Nazanin Rahman, Professor of Human Genetics at the Institute of Cancer Research. Thank you. We just bombarded everyone with statistics there. Just explain then what it means. I mean, obviously for Angelina Jolie, she's looked at her chances of getting breast cancer through having that gene, and they were put at 87%. She's had the double mastectomy. It's taken her chances down to 5%. How are these statistics worked out?
So they are estimates. We know that if a woman carries a mutation or a fault in the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene, that their risk of both breast and ovarian cancer is greatly increased. The actual specific amount that it's increased by, we can only estimate, and we sort of estimate that it's between 60 to 90%, and there are various things that will influence that risk. I think for a woman making a decision, generally their decision is not based on whether it's 87% or 82%. It's a question of how they feel about how high that risk, and those risks are high. They're substantially higher than a woman in the population, combined with their own sort of personal experiences and how they're feeling about the different types of options that they may want to take forward.
Because one of the figures that we put out there is that 1 in every 1,000 women in the UK has the faulty gene. So that sounds worrying, but it doesn't lead to cancer in obviously all of those cases, a much smaller proportion.
Yes, about 1 in 700 of the population generally, that's men and women, carry a mutation in either the BRCA1 or the BRCA2 gene. And but not all of those will develop cancer. But that is overall in the population around about 100,000 people who will have a mutation in one or other of these genes.
And she's taken the decision to have the double mastectomy as a result. What impact do you think her sort of putting that out there might have?
I think that these genes, the BRCA genes, they've been known for about 20 years now, and I think they are amongst the genes that are most well recognised, and certainly a lot of people who will come to see me in clinic will already have sort of known about them. I think it's important to think about the genetic testing as giving information that can both sometimes reduce one's risk or increase the risks, because often when we found that within a family that a gene mutation has caused cancer in that family, when we then test an unaffected person, they may have inherited or they may not have inherited it. So quite often we're saying, actually, although there's an increased risk of cancer in the family due to this faulty gene, you haven't inherited it, and therefore you don't need to have these interventions like having surgery or excess screening.
Professor Nazanin Rahman, thank you very much.